So in my talks, this is a wobbly stand, but just ignore that. In my talks for the last 3 talks then have embarked upon a great experiment that I've invited you all to be a part of with me. And it's to prove that we have the ability to live, to love, and to laugh abundantly, if you remember, by being a giver to life. So it was all about givingness. This concept is summed up in a few words by our founder, Ernest Holmes, and I've repeated this 3 times. I'm going to end it today, but it's a fabulous little reading. So this is it. Life is an eternal givingness, the offering of the cosmic self to the joy of its own fulfillment. You and I are part of this joy, and we find fulfillment only as the joy passes through us to others. Everything moves in circles. We short-circuit our own good when we refuse to pass it on. That's the way the law of circulation works. Said in a more secular way, I'm going to quote Anthony Robbins, author and speaker. He wrote, "Only those who have learned the power of sincere and selfless contribution experience life's deepest joy, true fulfillment." True fulfillment. That's life's deepest joy. Really feeling fulfilled. Really feeling overflowingly filled. And this from Eastern philosopher Tagore. "I dreamt that life was a joy. I awoke and life was service. I acted and behold, service was joy." So we've talked each week about why this is true. And I've been using this little book, which is full of parables, The Go-Giver. It's a sweet little book, but it's got a lot of message in it. So when you are of service, when we are of service, or when we are giving, we are living from that through me and as me stage. If you know, there's the 4 stages of consciousness that we discussed in the very beginning, where life is happening to me, life is happening through me, life is happening by me, and life is happening as me. So when we're in the as me and through me stages, we are in the mystic and the master stage of consciousness, which is where we want to be, where life is happening through me and as me. You are then being the clearest vehicle through which or as God can express. God can express through you when you are open and receptive to knowing what that even is, of just being uplifted and fulfilled. And you know that we have these spiritual tools. We have meditation. We have readings like Carol just gave us that will inspire us. And as David said, when he decided to read, I think it was Living the Science of Mind, and because he's in our fabulous foundation class, and he was inspired to contemplate what these words really meant to him. So that's when we are really in alignment with this infinite source of all good. This is when we feel fulfilled. This is when we feel at peace, when we can live abundantly. And so this month, we have explored how to prove you can live abundantly by looking at the 5 laws for stratospheric success. Love that word. Stratospheric success. I even had it conquered. That's what we want. Over the top success. Feeling truly fulfilled in all that we do. So we've looked at 4 laws so far. And today we have the final law left. And each week, I gave everyone an assignment, if you were here, to carry out, if you so chose, to follow those laws that we had been expressing. And 2 weeks ago, you had the assignment to practice the law of influence. Remember that one? That was the 3rd law. And that is when your abundant life, this is all about living abundantly and richly. Your abundant life is determined by how abundantly you place other people's interests first. doesn't mean to be a doormat. I have to put that little addendum on there. But are you thinking of the other person? Second law is the law, no, the fourth law is the law of authenticity, which says your most valuable gift that you have to offer life, this world, everyone in it, is yourself. That is the most valuable gift. Barry touched upon that. That's the most valuable gift that you have. No one else has it. Did you know that? Only you do. So the fifth law, which we're going to get into today, according to the Go-Giver, may come as a little bit of a surprise because it's not all about the givingness, but it is. But it might seem a little inconsistent with the other three talks, but then again, spiritual truths are often tucked carefully inside of parables. Like that. So here's the fifth law, and it's the law of receptivity. The law of receptivity. The key to effective giving is to stay open to receiving. In fact, every giving can only happen because it's also a receiving. Giving and receiving. It's the same part of that unbreakable circle that is divine. This is a profound concept, and I want us to really take it in on a deep, deep level. So that, let me say it again, every giving can happen because it's also a receiving. So let me show you a couple of examples. I have props too today. So I have a $20 bill. So which side? The heads up side with Andrew Jackson. This is Andrew Jackson's picture on it. And the tail side with the White House on it. If a dollar bill or a $20 bill has a heads and tails, I don't know, but I decided to make it so. Well, it's one or the other, isn't it? It's either Andrew Jackson or the White House. Right?
Is what?
Right.
Is the heads or tails?
So, of course not. They're both the bill. I can't have one without the other. They're both two sides of one thing, right? These are just some examples. And here's another. So in a moment, I'm going to count to 30, and you're going to exhale to 30. So I want you to slowly exhale after you inhale, and I'm going to let you know right now to take a really deep breath. Everybody take a deep breath. And when you exhale, I'm going to count to 30. So exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. How are you doing? 17, 18, 19. We could keep on going, but you know what? We cannot exhale to 30. And there's a reason why. What if I told you that it has been medically proven that it's healthier for you only to exhale than to inhale? It wouldn't make one bit of difference because it doesn't make any difference the amount of time it takes to exhale. The both part, it's still breathing. So the inhale and the exhale is part of the one thing. And so I'm trying to make a point here where it looks like there are two things, duality, when it truly is only the one thing. You cannot have an inhale without an exhale. You cannot have the inside of a glass without the outside of the glass. It is the one thing. Giving and receiving are the same thing. The same thing. The inside and the outside, if you will. Every giving can only happen because it's also a receiving. We say, God and I are one. And really, the accurate statement is God and I is one. But that drives, the grammar a little crazy. We could make the same grammatical faux pas by saying inhaling and exhaling is breathing. See, one is implying that there are two. the are. And the is implying the truth, that there's only one. But it just makes everybody crazy because it might be accurate, but it doesn't sound correct. But when you were younger, didn't you learn in the realm of giving and receiving that one might have been better than the other? Which one, of course? It's the giving. It's better to receive. Is it better to receive or better to give? I suspect that the first 4 laws that we talked about, that I'll sum up, supported the statement that we were brought up to believe it's better to receive. Did anyone say it's better to give? Did anyone ever teach you that it's better to receive? No. It's better to give. It's better to give. So we form these beliefs around it is better to give. So we forgot that whole other side, which is the same, giving and receiving. We forgot that part about receiving. Remember that the giving and the receiving are the same thing, and one can't happen without the other. Ernest Holmes said, everything moves in circles. Circles. It is not better to give than to receive. That's your new belief that you can. It's not. In fact, it is insane. It's insane to try to give and not receive. It really is. Many people get the giving down so much that they overgive of themselves, and they get burnt out because they're giving, they're giving, they're giving, and they won't let any time for that giving and the receiving part to come through to them. So they begin to feel sometimes taking advantage of. You ever feel like that? A little angry, discouraged, resentful? You are giving and you feel resentful about it. That's not in the flow. If you are not receiving to the degree that you would like to, maybe these are some of the reasons why. Perhaps you have bought into the false idea that it is better to give than receive. And perhaps you have underlying beliefs about your unworthiness. That's always a big one. Maybe a belief that you're not worthy enough to receive. Perhaps you believe that it's not spiritual to be abundant and spiritual at the same time. That's a biggie for some. That's a real biggie for a lot. Well, you can't be spiritual and pray to God for abundance. Perhaps you believe that money is the root of all evil. And so, if you believe that, sometimes it's easier for the camel to pass through the eye of the needle, as we know in the Bible, as it is for a rich man to get into heaven. Perhaps these could be beliefs. Perhaps you have the limiting belief, or the limited pie perspective, where you can take your piece, but don't take too much because there won't be enough left for everyone else. And I'm not saying eat the whole pie, we do learn to share. But sometimes we take the smaller piece because we think, there should be enough for everyone else. And so there's a little bit of lack and limitation in that kind of a belief. And did any of those strike any chords with anyone? Yes. So the point is then, and there's many, many more. There's many, many more around this receiving part that is so key for us to get. The point is that giving in the world won't bring you an abundant life. It won't create the results that you want unless you also make yourself a channel and to be willing and open to receive in like measure. It should be a balance. The giving and receiving, that's the flow we talk about. If you don't let yourself receive, and if you really do refuse the gifts of the universe, because what is the universe always doing? What is God always doing? Giving. Giving is the divine giver of all life. The master teacher, Jesus, laid it on the line at Luke chapter 8, verse 18, when he said, Whosoever hath, to him shall be given, and whosoever hath not, from him shall be taken even that what he seemeth to have. And those seem like really harsh words coming from a man of love, but they're not. It's our interpretation of them. If it's all about consciousness, and everything we believe in these teachings, everything is about energy and consciousness. So it's, what kind of a consciousness are you coming from? Are you coming from that consciousness with a belief that you're not worthy to receive? You're not worthy to receive, because then the law always works, doesn't it? And it gives you much more. That's what this kind of means. Jesus's words that we just spoke here, that what consciousness you have, the law will respond to. If you have an abundant, you ever see people who are very successful and abundant, and they always expect it. And so they always receive it. And then you have people that are, not worthy to receive it, and more lack and limitation is attracted. It's the way the law of attraction, the law of cause and effect, all of these laws work. They work whether we know it or not. We don't have to be conscious of it. It helps if we want to shift from being in that lack and limitation to living an abundant life. And here's another important tidbit. If you aren't willing to receive your share, it will go to someone else. And I'm going to explain that. T. Harv Eckert, in his book, The Secrets of a Millionaire Mind, tells of an experience he had that brought this idea home in a striking way. It's like a visual. Sometimes these teachings are great to have a visual that goes with it. So he wrote this. He was camping overnight, and before nightfall, he made a cover to sleep under by tying the top part of the tarp to a tree and then fastening the bottom to the ground to create a 45-degree angle roof to cover his head. And it's a good thing because it rained all night. When he woke up the next morning and got out of his shelter, he realized that himself and all of his possessions were bone dry. But outside of the tarp, the water had collected at the bottom, and it was a huge puddle. And so he heard an inner voice that said, "Nature is totally abundant, but not discriminating. When the rain falls, it has to go somewhere. If one part is dry, another part will be doubly wet." Let's bring that point home. You taking that in?
Yeah.
That's exactly how the universe works. And the universe is God, we know this. It's how the universe works. There is an infinite supply of abundance that's being poured down all of the time. And it has to go somewhere. It has to go somewhere. So at any given moment, this is the part for us to move into. The deal is, if someone isn't willing to receive his or her share of this good, it has to go to whoever is willing to receive it. It's the way the law works. The rain doesn't care where it goes. It doesn't care. It just pours. And neither does the abundance of the universe. It is always pouring down upon us. So Eckert teaches a little prayer, and it goes like this, which is kind of cool. So here's the prayer. Universe, if anyone has something great coming to them and they are not willing to receive it, send it to me. I am open and willing to receive all of your blessings. Thank you. Thank you, God. The abundance is there. We keep saying that. So the only thing that's blocking it are our beliefs that we don't have enough, that we're not worthy enough. All of those old beliefs. Ernest Holmes, in his book, Pray and Prosper, a great little book, "The Spirit can only give us what we take," he wrote. "And since the taking is an act of consciousness, we must be actively aware of the presence of our desire. We must know that the gift is made even before we see it. Consciousness must receive the gift." So how can your consciousness start then to be a better receiver? Don't you want to be a better receiver in life? If you haven't been, maybe you have been. I'm always open, willing, and ready to receive more of that good. I trust and pray that some of these ideas from this book have filtered into your consciousness to wake up. Maybe I'm not receiving. Maybe I do have a limiting belief. Any of those lists that I read, somewhere along the line, you made a decision to believe that. So now you can make a decision to believe something new, something else that serves you better, that manifests as your dreams. And we're going to start by affirming that you are a good receiver. You are a good receiver right here and right now. Start knowing this for yourself right here and right now. So say after me, I am a generous giver and an excellent receiver.
I am a generous giver and an excellent receiver.
Oh, I like that energy. Woo! Yeah. Here's the other one. I am open to receive all the good that the universe has for me now.
I am open to receive all the good that the universe has for me right now.
Those are great affirmations. Great affirmations. And the law does what? And what does it do?
Manifest.
It manifests. It's that impersonal substance of God that will always give back that which is impressed upon it. That which is thought or felt into it, it gives it back. The laws work. The law of electricity, we know. The law of gravity works whether we know about it or not. It's always working. It's the same with these spiritual laws. The same exact thing. So the key to living an abundant life is to give, give, and give. And we saw how to do that through, and I'm going to read all of the 5 laws. The law of value, first law. Your true ability to create an abundant life is determined by how much more you give in value than you take in payment. Right? Got that? The law of compensation. Your abundant life is determined by how abundantly you place other people's interests first. The law of authenticity. The most valuable gift you have to offer is yourself. That's the most valuable gift. That makes me very happy. The final and ultimate gift to giving is making yourself open to receive. That's the law of receptivity, the 5th law. So let us deepen our consciousness right here and right now, starting in this moment, and allow ourselves to receive as well as give. And it puts us in that flow, into that, we talk about a flow. You know, if things are not flowing in your life, there's something blocking it, and it can only be your belief. Because the situation's the situation. Things occur. Stuff is happening. This is life. Welcome to it, folks. And next week we'll hear Reverend Sunny, and she'll talk about the game of life and how to manifest your abundance. And it really is this way, by being open and receptive to receive your good. Because it is always present. And remember, just remember this, that the gift cannot be given without a receiver. So are you ready to receive?
Yes.
Are you ready to receive?
Yes.
All right, then you will. Start affirming it. And so it is.
So it is.